a state of mind. When you're with family, you feel the aloha. When you're with friends, you feel the aloha. When you're on the beach, the sun's your aloha. That little breeze, a kiss of aloha. Aloha is a state of mind. 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 A state of mind. A state of mind. A state of mind.
Aloha! State of Mind Podcast. And we are live. Welcome out to the Aloha State of Mind Podcast. My name is Mark Easy.
And this is DJ Free.
It is a Tuesday, August 25th, 2020, like we always do at about this time on the Tuesday night, bringing the Aloha straight to you. It's the Aloha State of Mind Podcast. So how you been doing this week, Mr. Free? I just saw you actually this weekend.
I know I had a great weekend this past weekend. Not to spill the beans or anything, but you and your wife came up to Las Vegas for your anniversary, so I got to spend some time with you guys. Had some dinner. I gotta tell you, man, you guys had a great eating tour of Vegas. Like when we had our Korean barbecue, I mean, I ate my body weight in meat, and then we Ellis Island where we had in second, and I had the biggest chicken parmesan I've ever had. And it tasted so good. Where else did you guys eat for your anniversary and all that?
We drove an hour and a half out to Bullhead City to eat at this spot called Culver's. It's kind of like a steak burger, but it's definitely worth you gotta look it up if you haven't eaten at Culver's. I think Bullhead City might be the closest to Vegas and California. I don't think there's anything closer than that on the West Coast, but definitely it was worth the drive. We thought we were crazy because actually we were gonna hang out in Laughlin for a while, and that was the whole plan. But we saw so many people out there on the river, and still with the COVID thing, we're out and about, but we didn't want to go where there was a lot of people, so we ended up just going to that Culver spot, eating and driving right back, which seems kind of crazy. But the crazy part is, I was saying, we're just going to eat. We drove an hour and a half just to eat here. And just so happened, the lady in front of us, she's like, oh, yeah, they got a Culver's back home where I'm from. And I just live in Vegas, so I figure it's only an hour and a half. So I figure I'll just drive here and get some Culver's and drive back. And I'm like, okay, I guess I don't feel so bad now.
I mean, coming from Vegas, going there, it's an hour and a half. Coming back, it's an hour. So 3 hours just to go to a restaurant. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
But Laughlin is a cool place. If it's not too crowded, like the river, it's literally the Colorado River.
Right.
So, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, it's a nice river to be on. And of course the hotels and the casinos and all that. But the drive out there, there's literally nothing.
Yeah, you could just put your car in cruise control and just let go of the wheel. You don't even need a Tesla. You could just let the wheel go, put it in the cruise control, and for 50, 60 miles, you could just be like, yep.
Yep, that's it. And you take the left, and then you go through a little bit of mountain pass, and you're there. So, I mean, did you guys have a good time?
Yeah, it was just more of a relaxing type thing. We know we didn't want to go to the Strip where there's a lot of people because of everything going on. So we're just we're just going to go to relax away from the house, someplace that's inexpensive, and, just kind of chill with each other, spend that quality time, and just chill out. So it was a good time. It was exactly what we wanted and needed. We got to eat some of the foods we like, so it was all positive. No
Right
pun
on.
intended. We gotta send what's up to Mitch Palooza's in the chat. Also, Joel from Vegas. Quincy is in the chat. Also, Dennis is route. My boy AP and yeah, just some people piling in before we introduce our special guests for this week.
Right on. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We're actually really excited about our guests. When we get to it, I mean, I hope that he tells you the story of his life, because it's in his words, it's been a pretty long life. But the reality is that it's life is always fleeting, life is always short. But he's done so much. I mean, literally so much, until the very last second when he was like, dude, like when we connected for this. He's like, man, I literally just walked in the door. I'm sorry, you know. What about it? And I was still on set, you know. Big T's was just did his drops for his shows, for his radio station. Everybody's busy, and I'm glad he's busy right now.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
I gotta say something. Just a little rant, my little gripe.
Okay, go ahead.
Last week, one of the station casino properties. It's known as the high end, because Green Valley Ranch is supposed to be like the high end, station casinos from the Fertitas. But I don't know why I actually wrote a review on Yelp and everything, that it's like the rooms are hot, like especially in this heat when it's 115 degrees out in Vegas. Like, everybody wants to come back to a 60-degree room, but the way that AC running, and it literally the AC vent hits the wall across from you, so you're hot all day. So I'm just saying, like, everything else is cool. The property is nice, but fix your ACs, fix your vents, do something.
Yeah, you're telling me I was in there. I had to sleep in there. So it was just like it was a weird situation where it was a weird situation where the vent is against the wall where the window is, so all the heat is there, and then the bed is on the right side of the wall, but the vent shoots out like the other way, so it's not shooting at the bed. And why is it like that? And so we got the guy to come up, maintenance. He's just like, oh yeah, they just changed the filter. Yeah, it's shooting out like air of 50 degrees, so that's as cold as it was get. And he's just like, yeah, this is a very bad design, it should have been on the other side wall, and yada yada yada. So I'm just like, and that's the main reason why we went there. We wanted to get get away from the heat here in California. You can hear my swamp cooler running over here probably, and I can't turn it off, otherwise I'm gonna pass out. But anyways, we go over there and we're like, wait a minute, this thing is supposed to be like, I could have went to a Motel 6 and iglooed out on that, but
right?
It is what it is. We try and see the positive of things, so we just kind of, we bought that fan. They brought us a fan, and we redirected the airflow ourselves, and after that we had a pretty refreshing time there, so it's all good.
Well, I'm glad that you guys had a good anniversary. Next time, go to Red Rock. But yeah, all right. So again, we got Alex and Dennis. Everybody, I hope you're ready. Are we ready?
Yeah, we're gonna wait for a little bit more people to jump in the chat, but it's all good. We're seeing the numbers push up, so we'll just go on and introduce our special guest for this week. And if people miss the intro, they can always catch it on the replay. That's the wonderful thing about the internet. You can always catch things on the replay.
Right. Well, the reason why is because I know that he's got a lot of story to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm so interested to get his story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what was that?
No, I said right.
Right. Right, Raja. Okay, so our guest this week, I am so honored to have him on the show. And the reason why is because without him and his DJ lineage, I would never be a DJ. I would never be in the entertainment business. I would never been in the music industry. Everything stems from this guy and the lineage that he put together in Hawaii, the legendary lineage. I mean, from Ahi to Lisa D, and Richie Aki to myself, everybody learned, and everybody was in awe of what this man can do on the turntables. I mean, I literally was working at a nightclub, my first nightclub ever, at Maharaja, and I stood in the DJ booth, and I saw this man. I didn't know who he was at the time, and he was using 3 turntables. Now, I don't even know how to use 2 most of the time, but he was using 3 turntables, keeping the beat, switching up the songs, doing mashups and mixes before they were even had a name, before mashups had a name, before all of that.
Right.
This guy has done so much for the community, so much for the youth, so much in teaching and putting together events that are safe for communities around Hawaii. I guess, I mean, geez, I can go on forever, but I'm going to let him talk. Please, help me introduce, and please give a round of applause, yay, for James Cole. Yay.
Hey,
James, you there?
Ovi, unmute.
I had to unmute. I had to unmute the mic. All good.
That's the number 1 rule of getting on the mic, being an MC. Unmute the mic before you start talking.
Yeah.
Well,
Some things I forget. I'm old, so I forget shit.
We'd like to welcome you. It's our privilege to have you on the Aloha State of Mind podcast, the legendary James Coles. You can't go down like Free said, the lineage of Hawaii DJing without starting at the top. Because, and you know what I mean, the top, it's just because you were the ones who started it, from like the 70s, early 80s. That's where hip-hop DJing started. So that's the era you started. So from you on down, like anybody who DJs in Hawaii, from like you said, Richie Aki, to guys like Bert, like DJ Sandman, to the kids today like DJ Hopper Boy, DJ
Hopper
Flip,
Boy.
Technique.
Yeah.
They couldn't be, it wouldn't exist without a start, and the
I don't
start
know.
is DJ James Coles.
I don't know about all that. This sounds good.
No, it's true. Whether you know it or not, it has to start somewhere. And if you didn't bring it, who knows if anybody would have bring it? Maybe it would have started a lot later, like in the 90s. Who knows? If no one really caught on to DJing, it might have not broke off into the culture. We might have had some boring radio in the 80s and 90s with no mix shows and just music. So we gotta give you your props where props is due. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I appreciate that, but trust me, there was a lot of cats before me.
Well, that's why we're here to learn about all of that before, who came before and what your story is. So we'd like to start off, before we get into what you're doing now and what you did before, we'd like to get an insight into the mind and the child actually growing up. And
Shit.
where you started from, where you were born, how was your childhood, and then how you evolved into the love of music and DJing. So let's start from where you grew up and how your childhood was like. Let's start with that.
And don't forget, just like Hawaii, cause what school you in? Yeah.
Damn, guys. Okay, take it all the way back. I'm originally from San Francisco. I was
Right.
born in Potrero Hill in San Francisco,
Mhm.
and then we moved to the suburbs by 1970, 1969 to Richmond, California. That's pretty much where all my best memories are. And then we moved back to the city, probably around 79, 80. And my mom and dad got separated, and my dad ended up moving to Honolulu back in probably 76, 77. So I got to visit him, I want to say 78. I came out here and I visited him, and that was a trip. And then I went back, and now I'm about 13 years old. So now I'm starting to act a fool. I'm a 13-year-old kid, and my mama can't handle me, right? So I remember there was one day she was like, "You keep acting like a goddamn fool, I'm going to send you to your daddy." I mean, so that was all I needed to hear. So I snuck out the next night and got into a bunch of shit. The cops brought me home the next morning, and she looked at me. She goes, "I guess you," she says, "I hope your bags are packed." And I said, "They are." And she put me on the airplane. She put me on the airplane, called my father while I was on the airplane, said, "Your son is on the way. You might want to pick him up." And that started in 1979.
Like, yeah, Mom, go ahead and send me to paradise.
Yeah.
Just see what you can do.
Actually, I did not like this place at all in the beginning, but I'll get to that. So
Mhm.
let's stick with the beginning. Since you're asking, so my father, one, there was always music around the house, always. I mean, you figure my mom and dad were 17 when they had me, so they were all about the music. So all the Motown, all the soul, all the funk was everywhere, all the time. My father owned one of the biggest nightclubs in San Francisco. I found out much later when my mom and dad got divorced, and it was a club called Oil Can Harry's. It was a real big, popular gay club. And I remember he would pick me up during the day to go handle his business, which was probably just to go pick up his money. And I remember I was inside the club and it was all dark, and he says, just stay over there. I'll be back in 20 minutes. So I'm milling around the club, and I was like, oh shit, what is this? And I'm looking around. There's 2 turntables and all that, and records. And I gravitated to the records. I'm going through the records, and that's about it. I don't think not too much of it. And then I see this weird character in the side, like getting ready to do something. Then my dad comes out. I was like, who the hell is that? Oh, that's Grace Jones. She's performing tonight. I'm like, oh, I don't know who Grace Jones is. I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, so now a couple of months go by, and my dad used to bring these tapes. I was probably 10, maybe 11. He'd bring these tapes home. He's like, Jimmy. My family calls me Jimmy. Jimmy, look at this. Listen. I'm like, what? Listen. You hear that song? Yeah. Listen. The song changed, and it didn't stop. Isn't that cool? And I always remember the song that was playing. I don't remember what the song went into, but it was Crank It Up by Peter Brown. And I was like, whoa, yeah, that is kind of cool. The song changed and it didn't stop. That's kind of cool. And then that was it. Nothing else. Then I want to say sometimes that was the first inkling. That was the first kind of something. And then I moved to Hawaii, and what's really funny, and it's funny because I was just talking about this gentleman the other day. When I first moved to Hawaii, my dad picks me up from the airport, and my dad was crazy back in the day. He picks me up from the airport, and he takes me straight to a nightclub. He takes me straight, drops me off at the frickin' Point After teen disco in the middle of the day. In the middle of the daytime, he goes, "Go inside here. You're gonna be partying for about 3-4 hours. I'll be back to pick you up." I'm like, this is my first time to Hawaii, and I'm walking into what? Bye, and I was gone. He was gone. So I walk into this club. Now I don't know these people, but I'm checking it out. There's a lot of popping and locking going on, and I remember I heard this song called King Tim III by Fatback. It's coined the first rap song ever on Wax, right before Rapper's Delight. And I remember going up to the DJ booth, and I was like, what the hell is that? Oh, that's King Tim III. And later on, I found out the DJ's name is Tony Makakau. Now, Tony Makakau, see, you always talk about, James the First. No, I was not. There was Tony Makakau that I looked up to big time. We became big friends and started trading music. Of course, there's Ahi and Lisa. They pretty much took me under their wings. There's Mike Taylor. The guys that I just thought were the total shit was Keith Jacobson at Hula's and Dane Reeves at Spats. I mean, I used to sit on the stairs at Spats because they used to have an outside speaker. Me and my friend Tez, when we were learning how to DJ in '82, we would sit and just listen. Ooh, we can hear the song coming in. Yeah, that's it. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna go practice that. Anyways, I kind of jumped around a little bit, but yeah, that was my first coming to Hawaii. My dad dropped me off at the freaking nightclub, Point After teen disco.
Dang.
Like when you said Spats, I was like, oh damn.
And back when there were nightclubs, people don't seem to understand. Back in them days, there was at least 50, 60 nightclubs just in Waikiki and downtown alone.
Right.
Now there might be real nightclubs. There might be 5. It's
in
sad.
Hawaii. I don't even think there is 5 in Hawaii. I don't know.
Okay, so let me jump to some more. So now I remember, you got to understand. So I'm half Mexican and I'm half Filipino. But I grew up with a lot of the brothers. That's kind of how the Bay Area is. So, you know, when you're 13 years old, you're trying to figure who you are. So when I moved to Hawaii, I was in cholo mode. Okay, listen, I don't know if I know what that means, but I had my Ben Davisons, my Dickies all pressed up, my hair was slicked back, I had my Surjack, and I walk on to Washington Intermediate, 7th grade, with not no fucking books, but I got my box playing. And remember, people would walk up to me, oh, what the hell is that? What kind of freaking music is that? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is the Gap Band. How do you not know the Gap Band? Oh, this is Funkadelic Parliament. How do you not know this? Because radio was devoid of funk and good music back then, you know? So, being, I guess, the little entrepreneur that I was like, oh, shit. I went home and dubbed those. It wasn't even a mix. It was some shit that I recorded on the radio and from my records. It was just songs. And I started dubbing them and making about $100, $200 a week selling my tapes. It was
the beginning of the hustle.
right? Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I had regulars. My man D motherfucking D, he was like my regular. He would get on the bus from Kailua, meet me at Ala Moana, and she's like, bro, you better have at least 10, 15 tapes, man. I'm like, man, I got you, bro, trust.
Like, I had to get on the bus. It cost me $2.
Brother, at that time, it was a quarter.
Yeah.
Sorry, back and forth. But yeah. That's kind of the real beginning. I mean, how much more you want me to go in depth, you know?
No, we love the stories, you know what I mean? Like I said, that's why we're here, like you said, to learn the lineage that you learned from. And when you mentioned all those names, you know, we're not familiar with it, but it's good to be educated about it, especially if you're a DJ from Hawaii. We know as James Coles as the foundation, but we know there's even further back names that we might not know of.
Way more. Okay,
Yeah.
so now, let's take it now. Now I'm just going through school. I'm, selling tapes and being an idiot and getting into trouble and all that. By 1982, we're going to teen discos now. We're going to Silly's Teen Disco, and I'd always be the first one sitting downstairs in that. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember those. There used to be a little bench there. So Teen City at Silly's used to open up at 6. My ass would be down there at 5:30 because I want to be the absolute first motherfucker inside that club, and I'd have at least 10, 20 records. Now, I didn't want to DJ. I just was hoping that because I got there so early that the DJ would play my shit so I can hear it loud. That's all. I just wanted to hear it loud, And then I'd go out there and dance by myself because, there was nobody there yet. But then it started, it gets crowded and all that. And then, whoa, you got the 2 turntables here. Is that how it doesn't stop? They're like, yeah, that's how it does, and blah, blah, blah. So there's some more. Wow, I think I want to do that. I can make my tapes like the way my dad liked them, And then one day I was walking around. Actually, no. So I know I want to get my turntables. And I remember I went to my dad. I'm 13, 14 years old. And I said, look, I think I need some turntables. He's like, what? I go, I need some turntables. I think I want to learn how to DJ. He goes, well, how much do you need? I said, well, I already got a box. I can plug, the 2 turntables and the mixer into the box. I just need two turntables. How much do you need? I need like $1,200. He goes, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you half. Half. What am I going to do with half? He goes, well, you get a job. You save up $600 and I'll match you. The very first time I ever worked, where I didn't really like it, I worked at that damn Burger King on it's still there on University Avenue.
Yeah,
I remember I worked there. I was flipping burgers for about 6 months. As soon as I knew I saved up $600, took that little net off my head and I said, I'm out. And I was gone. Showed my dad the $600. He was shit. Boom. And then I got my decks. Then that shit was over. Well, to me, my life changed because now all I'm zooming in is the music. I sleep with them, that's all. School was done. I would cut school just to go practice, that's what happened. So So now I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just excited that the shit don't stop, but it's a train wreck. You know, I'm like, yeah, that just sounds okay. It ain't stopping. And then I think it was 1982, and it's so funny because I always gravitate to the gay clubs. So I gravitated to the gay district where Hula's, the original Hula's was, and I find myself at a record store called The Beat. So I walk into The Beat, and there's records there. I'm like, oh shit, you know. So I'm looking around, and then I see Kevin Okada, the owner. And he's got 2 turntables back there, and he's making his tapes. And I'm like, so you DJ? You know how to do this? He goes, yeah, this is what I do. Blah blah blah. He says, why do you want to learn? I go, well, you know, I'm learning. I got my 2 turntables. Then he goes, well, do you know your phrases? I was like, I don't even know what that is. He goes, well, do you know how to count? I go, yeah, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No. You know how to count. And anyway, so he showed me the basics. And I remember he was like, you gotta learn the phrases. Everything's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they're all in these little 32s and 64s and blah, blah, blah. And so I caught on real fast. And he was like, it doesn't even matter what music. It could be rock. It could be, you know, disco. It could be rap. It could be whatever. Everything's in little phrases. Once you understand the phrases, when you mix, you have to match the ones with the ones, the twos with the 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. I was like, and I remember going home, turning on the radio, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoa, it changed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It changed again. Oh, shit. So then, you know, I did that for a while, trying to just get my mind around the phrasing and all that. And then it was on. You know, now I'm trying to mix the beats, and I'm kind of figuring it out. I remember I used to look for long songs because I didn't want the song to end before I can match the beat because I was so slow at it, you know. I got past that. So now, you know, I'm practicing every day. I'm cutting school and, you know, all that craziness, and I'm still going to the teen disco. And then one day, the teen disco person didn't show up, and I think his name was Mike Taylor. That's my brother. I think Mike Taylor was sick. And so Ricky Sugimoto, he comes up to me. I mean, he knows me because I'm always there. You know, I'm just a little 14-year-old kid. He's like, do you know how to do this? I go, well, I'm practicing. I don't know if I'm ready for the shit. He's, well, just go. I was like, what? Let's just go play. I was like, okay, well, can I go home and get my records? And luckily, this is how lucky I am. I lived at the Wailana. I'm 2 blocks away from home. So I jet home, grab my box, I grab my records. I don't even have crates or anything yet. And I go down there and I play, and I'm nervous as shit, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it goes over pretty good. He gives me the gig. So now I'm working every Friday. And I don't even know how long that goes. And I'm getting better and better at the craft. And I'm all about, you know, in the beginning, I was all about cutting and scratching and juggling and transforming and all that shit. You know, I was all about it. And would battle a lot. I'd walk into a club and just beat somebody up real quick because that's what we did, you know. And then, you know, the teen disco would end at like 9:30. One day, the adult DJ didn't show up, and to me, it's just typical. It's a typical story. The adult DJ didn't show up, and he's like, "Dude, I need you to work." I'm like, "The adults?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "Well, how old are you? Till what time?" He's like, "Till 4." I was like, okay, well, can I use your records too? Because I don't think I have enough music. He's like, yeah, you can use anything in the booth. I was like, okay, I got to ask my dad, hold up. You know, so I called my dad, and I say, hey, Dad, you know, they want me to work the teen disco, the adult. He goes, till when? I go, till 4. He goes, okay, that's 4. That means last call's at 3:30. Your ass going to be home by 3:45. I was like, yeah, all right. He says, how much they going to pay you? I says, I don't know. He says, would you say yes? So I go back, how much you going to pay me? He says, we'll give you $100. I was like, bet, happy. I'm happy. Let's go. Boom. and that's
this big.
That started.
Ah.
It was on. It was on. And I remember I was so freaking arrogant. You know, I was so arrogant. I'm doing this for a while, trying to go to school. And I remember, I hit to about just the ending of my junior year. And I'm at McKinley, and I'm an idiot. You know, I'm just... and I go up to my counselor. I said, look, I already know what I want to do in life. I'm going to be a DJ, and that's it. And I got jobs, and I just want to get out, so I want to take the GED. And she goes, okay, well, the next one's in 6 months. I was like, in 6 months? I'll be a senior and damn near graduated. And she goes, what, you got to study. I was like, study? I'm almost a senior. If I don't pass this test, y'all fucked up. That's how arrogant I was. And I remember she says, okay, Mr. Coles, Farrington is going to have one in 3 days. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. So I took the GED at Farrington in 1984. I was supposed to actually graduate in 85. It's probably the only thing in life, now that I have 3 kids, I regret. I could have walked. So guys, that's kind of how the beginning kind of started.
Yeah. That's fabulous. It seems like that's always the case with a lot of DJs we talk to, is just like the right place at the right time, and the opportunity falls in your lap, and be ready. And and
the key thing that you said was be ready.
Yeah.
You have to be ready. A lot of things can come into your lap, but if you ain't prepared and you scared, well, that just, it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately for you, like your opportunities came early, because most of the time when we talk to all our interviews, they're like, "Oh yeah, I went to school and I went to Awana and I walk around with a ukulele and slippers and socks."
I was doing exactly that, but I would have my radio.
Yeah, you actually like were working in Spillies, and probably when Masquerades was there later on, like across the street.
Oh yeah, we were scared when they opened, because they were so big and beautiful, but they were whack. They didn't last. No disrespect to anybody from Masquerades.
Hey, I went there once and I was like, this is boring. So
yeah, no, you got to remember, there was like 8 clubs just on that corner, and the drinking age was 18. It was on the complete chain. And being a daddy now, nobody in their right goddamn mind should have the right to drink at 18, unless you go into war. It's just too young. It's too young to be getting that loaded. You haven't even developed yet.
I agree, absolutely, 100%.
So yeah, basically that tells us the beginning, how you got your first opportunities into the club. Let's talk a little bit about how you came about with like maybe Ahi or Lisa D, and how maybe someone who mentored you took you under the wing, and you kind of started taking your craft to the next level.
Yeah. Okay. So when I'm working at Silly's, and I'm there for a minute, I'm there. So Ahi and Lisa D would come around, and I was their little baby. I still call I see Ahi all the time. I call her Mama. I mean, that's our relationship. I've known her since 1982. They would give me deal trick. Hey, James, you remember, you're here to sell drinks. Don't be afraid to sit these people down. And when you're a young DJ, you're scared to sit people down, because you're not confident that you're going to get them back. So it was nerve-wracking. And look at the people. Look at everybody. See those people over there? They're tapping. You're vibing with them. Them over there, you haven't won them over yet. I mean, all these little things. Always clean your records. Be organized. I mean, the sound is very important. You go outside, turn the shit on first to make sure all your speakers are right, and clean your light. I mean, all those little things they would tell me about. But really, not to discredit them, once I knew my phrases, it was over for me, because all I did was concentrate on mixing and cutting and scratching at home, since I had my decks. And a lot of people my age just didn't have the decks. Even my best friend that I learned with, Montez Brown. Actually, this is a good little piece. So when I met Montez Brown at one of these teen discos that happened on a boat. And I remember one of my friends said, "Oh, you got to meet this dude. He's a DJ. He's from Chicago, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, whatever, cool. Let's just see what's up. And then, he said, okay. And we almost kind of clicked, but then actually, no, we clicked immediately. But then he showed me these tapes. He said, this is from Chicago. And these DJs called the Hot Mix 5. And they're pretty good, man. We should listen. And I'm listening to it. It was the dopest shit I had ever heard in my life. I was blown completely away, and I was just like, oh, everybody here that I thought was my hero, I need to be like these guys. I mean, the mixing and the in the key, and just so fast, and overdubs and edits. My mind was blown, and so I was like, dude, you need to get some more of them tapes. You know, can you get some more of them tapes? Yeah. My sister will send them to me. So we would get these tapes from WBMX and study them. Like, he just changed the song. In not even 232s, the next song was playing. But it's possible. You know, you take off the record, you put it on, but how does he catch the beat so fast? See, that was the thing that I didn't understand yet. And then once I found out how to do that, then it was really on. What I'm talking about is, you know, a lot of DJs still to this day, when they play their records, they're they're playing with the spindle, they're hitting the side of the record. No discredit. If that's how you DJs know how to DJ, that's how you know how to DJ. But I remember one day, Keith Jacobson from Hula's, I was watching, well, Tez and I were watching him. Wow, he doesn't touch the record at all. He doesn't touch anything except for the pitch. That's got to be the way. Because, you know, you can just do like 5, 6, 7, 8, boom, hit the pitch, and I'm on. I can catch, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying, once you get to that level with the pitch, your pitch is your slave. Once you get that level of the pitch, I can catch the beat in half a second, and I'm good. And I'll never lose it. And the way you have your ear trained. So there was no slowing down of dropping the thing, finding the one. Oh, I'm almost there. Oh, I got to speed it up a little bit. Nah, it was 5, 6, 7, 8, boom. Oh, there I am. Good. Let's go. Mix in. So that's how we figured out how they were mixing so fast. And I'll tell you what, not too many people know this, but when me and Tez were practicing, we were so used to, you know, hitting the edge of the turntable with our other hand. We would tie our hand behind our back with a belt and just put the record on and hit it so we wouldn't, because we wanted to touch it. So we said, the hell with that. We just only pitch. And he learned it. Well, I did, and I was. But yeah, okay, so yeah, a lot of my mentors, you know, Dane was a monster at Spats. I would go see them when I became old enough, and I would listen to them, and we all clicked, and we all clicked because I think they knew I had a genuine love for the music. You know, it was always the music. You know, I wasn't just trying to get out and you know get my shine and all that. I really didn't care about all that. You know, I just wanted to play the music and educate people and give them the new music. That's why I became a DJ, just to share.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
But by the time I left Silly's, because the guy, one of the general managers, so this is crazy. So back in the day, they would be like, "You need to sit these people down, James." I'm like, "What?" Sit them all down. I remember I would play something like "Owner of the Lonely Heart." Boom. Everybody on the dance floor look at me. I mean, everybody, and they just get off the floor and they're just kind of standing around, just looking at me, arms crossed, and everything. And I'd have to do this for like 3, 4 songs, and I'd be like, "Can I go back? Can I put them back on the dance floor?" Okay, boom. You know, play Houdini or some shit. Boom, everybody comes back. 20 minutes later, nobody's drinking, James. Sit their asses down again. Oh, shit. You know, so sit them down again. You know, this went on, and it was very nerve-wracking. And I remember one day I went outside. I said, "Look, I really want to put these people back on the dance floor. May I do it?" And the dude grabbed me by my neck, held me up against the wall, and my feet were actually dangling. And you just blah, 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 blah. So I remember I said, "Oh, okay." So I went back to the booth. I put on one of their records, took my needles off, put their needle back on, took my records, and I remember I stopped. I went, "Pew." I said, "I'm done. I'll see y'all later. Bye." And I put on another record. I took my records and I left. And I remember he's yelling at me as I'm walking down McCully. "Fuck you, James. You're never going to work in this town again. I'm going to blackball you. I'm going to blackball you. You don't know what you just did. Blah, 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 blah." Yeah. 3 days later, I took over Maharaja. Holla.
You know, speaking of Maharaja, like that was my first nightclub. I actually was a bathroom attendant there under Richie Aki, and he's like, I like your, you know, your personality. You want to learn how to DJ MC." And so he actually taught me programming, like, you know, how to rotate the floor. It doesn't have to be hits all the time. You got to let the bar drink. And, you know, programming and mixing. Like, he even taught me your method of just ride the pitch. You know, like you just put it on and just pitch it through, and all you need is 32 or 64. That's all you need. And if you can pitch it in within that time, you're golden. So he taught me your techniques, and then my first place was the beat with Kevin, and I it's a weird story though. Richie got me into, because I was working on Maharaja. Richie got me into the beat. They had the record pool, and Kevin, it was very exclusive, because you can only have certain spots. And I wasn't taking it serious.
You only had 25 records per DJ. But anyways, go on.
Yeah, and so I wasn't taking it serious, and Kevin just came, I went in to get my records. He's like, okay, free. There's only two ways this is going to happen. Either you stick with the record pool and you actually dedicate some time to this, or, and if you're not going to dedicate time, then you drop out of the record pool and we can still be friends. Because right now you're taking up spots that are real DJs.
I can hear him saying that all day. I can hear him saying that. We're still good friends. We had dinner last time I seen him was about a year ago.
Right, and he's like,
when he let me in, he was like, don't tell anybody how old you are.
No, that's another reason why I got in, because I was so young at the time. I was only like 23, 24. But I told him, you know what, Kevin, this is like the worst decision I ever made. I told him, dude, I'm not going to take it serious, to be honest. I just play hits. That's my job. I'm an opener and I'm a closer. That's all I do. So I'd rather give away my spot to somebody that deserves it, that really wants it. And I think DJ Technique took my spot at that time. But at the time, and Richie was so pissed off. Richie was like,
he wanted it.
Fire ass, what the hell are you doing, bro? Kevin, just call me, you dumb shit. I was like, he tore it into me, dude.
Wow.
At the time, I didn't realize how important it was.
Yeah,
but, yeah. And by the way, I worked at that Burger King on Baratania twice in high school because I lived right next to it.
Oh, that's
once got busy in a Burger King bathroom. Twice.
Right. Oh, I forgot. I want to say this one thing because it was a huge part, and it's actually what made me want to stay in Hawaii. Okay, so like I said in the very beginning, I didn't like Hawaii when I first got here. It was hot. The music sucked. I didn't know what the hell y'all was talking about with all this damn pigeon. There was no city life. So my plan was to, when I hit 18, I'm gone. I'll move back to San Francisco. So what I remember, when did it happen? Something happened where I got fired from somewhere, and I had went with a friend of mine that worked on a cruise on a boat. One day he was like, "Oh, dude, why don't you just come with me? I'm a cook on this boat, and I just got to go sign up and make sure they call my name." I was like, "Well, you do your shit, not come back." He's no, just come with me. So I went with him, and then he said, "Oh, why don't you just sign this thing?" I was like, "What am I going to do?" He goes, "Well, you DJ." I go, "What? They got a nightclub on the boat?" He's like, "Yeah." Whatever. I just signed it, put my phone number in. I really, truly didn't think nothing of it. I think maybe about 4 months would go by, and I had just gotten fired from something, some club across the street from, I think it was Neighbors or Tracks or something. I don't know. And I thought my DJ career was over. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm 18 years old. And I get a call. My dad says, American Hawaii Cruises. I was like, I don't know what that is. Well, they're looking for you. I was like, yeah, what's up? You DJ? Yeah. Can you DJ now? I go, what do you mean? How would you like to DJ on this cruise ship? I go, I've never DJed on a cruise ship. He says, no, it's just DJ. I go, so what's the deal? Well, you're on the ship 4 months on, and then you get a paid vacation 2 months off, and we'll pay you $2,000 a month. All room and board and food is taken care of. I was like, when do I leave? They say, can you be there? Can you be at the ship at Aloha Tower in 2 hours? I was like, yes. I stayed on that ship for 5 years.
Dang.
Wow.
So it was pretty amazing, guys. And I remember one day, I was a DJ, and then I became assistant stage manager. Then I finally became stage manager. So they had all these, they had showrooms. And it's a big hotel. It's like a casino. They had all these showrooms, and they did stuff by the pool with sound and lights, and that's where I learned how to be a stage manager. But I was faking it, so I wanted to hire my best friend that I knew had a lot of knowledge in that. His name was CJ Barbosa, great DJ. So I hired him because he'd make me look good. And then I hired my other friend. So now I have Montez Brown, CJ, and myself. I'm the stage manager. CJ's assistant stage manager, and Tez is the DJ, and we are just running shit. It's so much fun. But I'm not gonna tell you all the craziness, but I'll tell you the sentimental thing. The sentimental thing about it is I remember one day I got up at like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, or I might have been high, and I was just up. And I remember going out to the bow of the ship, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh shit, I can see a whole island right there. I can see a whole island on this side. There's another island behind us. And then we're right up against Molokai with the sheer cliffs. I'm like, why am I trying to leave?
Mhm.
I'm already where everybody wants to be.
Right?
You know what? And, I really understood, going to all the islands every week for 5 years, you really get to understand the Aloha spirit. I thought that shit was corny and was dumb and all that. But when you really get to learn it and it gets inside your bones, you understand it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make roots here. When I want to go to the city, I will jump on an airplane, get my rocks off, bring my ass home. I've been doing that for 40 years.
Oh, boy, that's crazy.
Just went around the islands?
Yeah, it just went around the islands.
Oh, okay.
And it was wonderful. I mean, it was just wonderful. I mean, everything, any kind of touristy thing. So, I was considered entertainment staff.
Mhm.
So most people that work on a cruise ship, if you're a waiter or a cook or whatever, you could only be above ground with the passengers when you're working.
Right.
When you're not working, your ass is down below, and it's dark and ditch there. They encouraged me to hang out and flirt and bruh. Every week with at least every 2-3 girls every week, man. It was a good life.
Well,
Anyways.
that's what you're supposed to do when you're young and you got a job. You got to enjoy every minute of your life.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. No, my number one rule in my life has been, if you're not having fun at it, why do it?
right.
If you're dreading to go to work every day, why do it? Waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Do what you love in the money.
I understand we all got to do what we got to do, but for me, I try to skewer that way.
Right. That's good. So what years was that? Were you on the boat from 5 years?
Ship.
Ship.
1985 to 1989. So like 4.5 years. And you got to remember, 4 months off, 2 months off, 4 months on, 2 months off. So I would come back and I would play at Silly's for 2 months.
Right.
Or play wherever for 2 months. Or if I was smart and had some money saved, I used to love traveling. So I was seeing all of Asia by the time I was 21, 22. I traveled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I traveled to the mainland and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. So I got that out of my system really, really early. But it also got me to see other DJs in big cities.
Right.
And getting my mind around that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got fired from the ship, that's a whole other story. When I got fired from the ship, I remember G-Man was working at Silly's.
Mm-hmm.
And he seen me walk back in. He goes, I heard you got fired. I go, yeah. He goes, you motherfucker, are you going to take my job? I said, dude, I don't know. I'm just here hanging out. Anyways, they hired me back.
They fired you. What's the reason you got fired? Oh, there was an outbreak of pregnancies on the boat. I don't know.
No, it was ego. So there was this other young cruise director. I remember his name was Dennis Sertina. Oh, this guy was so arrogant. And I think there was a little bit of a dude challenge because he was trying to get some birds. That's what we used to call girls. He was trying to get these girls. I'm trying to get these girls. And it was always this kind of competition. But because he was my boss, he felt he needed to talk down to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not real good at people talking down to me, especially when I was, 20. So I remember one day I'm talking to a bunch of girls, three little white girls, and he kind of rolls by. He goes, and he does this shit. Coles, what did I tell you about wearing shorts? Take your ass downstairs and put the shorts back on. I mean, put your pants back on. And I went to the girls. I said, excuse me. And I walked over to him. I pushed him into the, it was like these like pantry area. I said, motherfucker, don't you ever talk to me like that. And I kind of pat my finger on his chest. And he hits my hand, and I deck him. He goes down, and he's like, motherfucker, you fired. I was like, I better be. And that was it. Oh, that was good.
No birds. Wow.
Big fun. So when I got back to Silly's, that's when I was there for maybe, I don't know, not even a year, and the guy, had his hand, choked me, and that's when I went to Maharaja.
Mm.
And then that's a whole other new chapter now. Everything changes when I go to Maharaja. Everything changes. And now I'm grown up. I'm 22. I'm grown now.
But what was the changes between, because I mean Silly's is a nice local club, but again there's some rough days over there.
These fights all the time. What are you talking about? I remember the biggest fight. I remember this one big fight. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, it spilled into the streets. So I want to hear this.
That was a regular. That was regular. I remember, I didn't know who it was at the time, but I remember a bunch of dudes stormed the club, and they just started throwing shit and breaking shit, and they went all around the club just breaking shit. And I remember seeing them, they're going to go around this club. There was like 15, 20 of them. I remember I went down below, I cut one of the wires, and I had it out. So if they were coming to me, I was going to electrocute their ass. They never bothered me. They never bothered me. But I think it was something with the Noga brothers, and they were not happy with somebody in that club.
Oh, dang.
So I remember when I left, my sister was dating someone that knew Peter Dietrich. He was the general manager of Maharaja. And my sister said, hey, Peter says he's been trying to call you. I go, who the hell is Peter? He's not the Maharaja. And you got to understand, I haven't been to Maharaja yet. I never even stepped foot in it. It might have been open. It might have been open for 6 months. And I remember I walked in and I was like, oh my God.
Right?
I am not in Kansas anymore. And that sound was off the chain, and they were listening to house music, and I was like, oh my God. Because when I was trying to shove house music down Silly's throat back in 85, 86, they were not having it. I was really, what? You want me to sell some drinks? I'll put some house music on. Everyone sits down. They weren't having it. So when I went to Maharaja, you got to understand, Maharaja was owned by Japanese. So they had like 30 Maharajas in Japan. Yeah. This was their flagship. So it was half Japanese and half locals. And I was like, I can play to these locals. I can play the house music for these Japanese. That'll rotate the floor. I was in heaven. And I remember I met Peter Dietrich that night. He goes, and he's real cool. He's like the coolest general manager ever in life. Rest in peace. Just the coolest one. He walks up to me all slick, looking like, like the Rat Pack. And he's like, James Coles, I've been trying to call you. I go, well, I'm here. He goes, can I show you the box? I walk into the DJ booth. It's bigger than my bedroom. I'm just like, whoa, whoa. He goes, when can you start? I said, I can start anytime you want. He goes, see me tomorrow in the office. And that was that.
At the time, did they have the gauges?
What? Go on.
Did they have the gauges going like in the back? What is it called? The EQ?
I was in love with that. I was so. God, to this day, it's the best sound system I ever worked with.
Oh yeah, by far. Like it could be loud as you could just blast your ears out, but the tones are still perfect.
What I used to love, when I knew I was doing a good job, it's 1:30 in the morning, we're pounding. I can hit the bass, and I can hit the bass on the mixer max, like boom, and the whole room would go. And I remember Francis, he would come out of the VIP room. He goes, James, what the hell just happened? I go, what? He goes, all my glasses just fell off the damn wall. I was like, I don't know.
And the VIP room, like all glass. Man, you
Yeah.
can rump that place.
Oh, it was great. It was great. So I had a good stint there. I stayed there till around. I don't even know. I was trying to juggle. Somewhere in there, I got on I-94 to be the music director, and I was trying to juggle both of that. And finally, I had to step away from Maharaja and do that solely, and that's a whole other conversation, the whole I-94 thing. And then when I left I-94 to go open up my club, that was a whole other, beast. Jesus.
What club was that? Was that? Did you open up the mix?
Yeah, that was my club.
Uh,
And it was, for me, guys, it was a dream. I always wanted to open. The apple doesn't fall from the tree. I wanted to be my dad. So, I had this goal of opening up a nightclub on my 30th birthday. And guys, I can't even make this up. I opened the fucking club on my 30th birthday. I mean, the grand opening was on my 30th birthday. And my best friend had just got out of jail doing a 7-year stint. He's working with me. My other best friend's the head of my security. I got Rick Rock, doing my advertising. Life was good.
I remember that night because I was working on Maharaja at the time with Richie Akey, and he's like, "Dude, when K-Smooth jumps on, you're coming with me." I'm like, whatever. I'm already drunk, right? So we jump in the car, we go down to the mix, and at the time, again, there's rumors that you guys are gonna open, but I remember that day because it was right across the street from my girlfriend's like apartment building and all that kind of stuff, and it was like by Alamana, like the beach park side, and
It was
I remember-
right across the street from the IBM building.
yeah, I remember. And so I was like, dude, this is kind of cool. Like, what? And then he's like, yeah, it's James Cole's new place, and it's his 30th birthday, so we have to come. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, right on. And so we could only stay there for about an hour just to say hi and all that, and then we had to leave, go back to our own club. But I remember when the mix opened up. It was pretty dope, dude. Like, you guys had it going on there.
And I'm glad it was short-lived. It was very short-lived. Thank God.
Is there for that, though?
Excuse me?
Was there a reason why it was short? Like, was it rent?
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. Victoria Ward, she owns that. That company owns that whole section. It was this. You got to remember, this is before Ward Center and all that. They said, look, unfortunately, you got to leave in a month, and you can try to sue us, but you got to leave. We're going to demolish this whole area. Blah blah blah. What am I going to do? I'm gonna fight Victoria Ward. I took my little bags of money and I left. And I went to open up another club in Waikiki. I took over the old Pink Cadillac, and that was a complete disaster. I went from the mix was unique because the rent was really, really low. I had 20 parking spaces out in front. There was nobody around me. There was no buildings, no apartment building. So I remember when I was looking for a new space, I couldn't find this. Oh, and it was only, my overhead might have been 15, 20 grand, maybe, maybe a month. And when we did that in 3 days, on a weekend. So I remember going around looking for a new spot, and I couldn't find it. It was so expensive. And then I looked at Pink Cadillac. She wanted to make a deal, and but everything told me, you have no park. It's almost double rent. You have no parking. That space has not made it since the drinking age changed from 18 to 21, and you damn near got a freaking old people home, the Waipuna, right across the street. Oh, and I went from having a 4 o'clock license to a 2 o'clock license.
Yeah.
Wow.
But my ego got a hold of me and said, well, James, you the man. So if anybody's going to make it, you going to make it. And I gave it a whirl. And it was okay. But guys, I can be real frank. I was doing so much drugs by that time. I wasn't making the right decisions. And it was a mess. And I remember I was going to fire everybody. Actually, no, I knew something was wrong. And then we're trying to figure out what should we do. And my sister said, well, just out the side of her mouth, oh, you should open up a gay club. And I'm thinking, That's exactly what we'll do. I don't need 5 freaking security guards. I don't need to buy radio. I can just advertise in the gay community. I can play house. Oh, this is great. So I took the last of my money, remodeled the place, and brought down the Funky Green Dogs from Miami, and I opened up a gay club called called Discotheque. And it was going pretty good. You know, we're doing 400 or 500 people every Friday and Saturday. And then I was like, yeah, if I keep this up for 6 months, I'll be in the green. Yeah, I'm the man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then, Hulu announces that they're going to close. And I was like, you see, I am the freaking man. Hulu's going to close, and I'm going to. I really thought that. And I think 2 weeks goes by after that was circulating that Hulu's was going to close. I didn't go from 400 or 500 people every Friday and Saturday to 100 or 200. I went from 400 or 500 people to 0.
Man.
Nobody came.
Wow.
And I was bugged out, and I remember when I knew the party was over, and it was 1999, and my party was over. I remember I fired everybody, which is one of the hardest things to do. I kicked everybody out. I closed the doors. I put a big table in the middle of the dance floor. It's so dramatic. I poured out an 8-ball of cocaine, and I just got high, and I knew it was over, and that was it. It was over. We were done. So I went from the highest highs to the lowest lows, all in a 2-year period, maybe 2-year period. I had lost my cat that I had for 10 years. My first marriage was over. I'm a drug addict, and I'm $100,000 in the hole, and I just lost the club. I was out.
That's quite a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I remember the days. I think I started interning at I-94 in like '94ish. I think you were there doing the music director, and we know you were kind of popping off on some stuff. We're like, man, hey guys.
Yeah.
He's on one, but But yeah, I don't remember. What I just wanted to bring up is what I remember was was it the Unity mixtape?
Oh,
Unity?
that was great. Oh, that was a
that
great.
That was like a great freaking How did you get like a label permission for that, or was it just a bootleg? Because I remember it was at Jellies, and it was just it was crazy.
It's a great story. I'll tell you the whole skinny. So, my friend, one of my partners, his name is John Ervelino. He's the one who actually came to me and said, "Hey, your mixes are dope. Why don't we press them up and blah blah blah." And I thought he was going to do it legal. Anyways, we did that for a little while, and then that imploded because he was ripping me off, and I wasn't getting the money, and blah blah blah. So I decided to do it on my own. And because I was the music director, and because I feel like I was smart, I was not taking the new stuff that I would get from the record pool or from the radio. I was putting stuff that was already old. They kind of already ran their course, meaning everybody made their money.
Right.
But I repackaged it, did what I did, and at this time I'm really learning how to produce now. I got my ASR 10. I got studio shit. All of that. So I went ahead. I found out it only costs like $2-3 to make a CD. And I sell them. I sell them to the stores for $16.95. And blah blah blah. So I started doing it, and I'm doing it out of my car. I would go up. Here's an invoice. I'd sell them. Remember when Jellies had like 30 stores, and Tower Records was everywhere, and then there was RJ's, and it was mad.
Yeah.
We were doing. I think at the height of it, I think it was Unity Mix 6. I sold 100,000 units.
Yeah, I think that's the one I remember.
It was crazy. I remember we would go. I would fly to Japan to put the CDs in over there. I would fly to all the outer islands, put the CDs over there. We had these contests where we would tell, okay, all you Tower Records, whoever sells the most units in a month, we're gonna fly you to wherever. We would walk into Tower Records. There'd be these big ass signs with my CD on it, and we'd be on the end caps where everybody wanted to be, and it was crazy. Anyway, so that was a great run. Then the downfall of it, and everybody started doing it too. especially when something happened when UH was doing these spring sales. So I would go up there and have 300-400 CDs, and that was at the campus thing, and everyone would gravitate because the music playing. I'd just be selling, making all this money. And then I remember Joho and a couple other cats came up and they were looking at it, and all of a sudden, here we go. I got Chris Chang with some CDs. I got everyone's got CDs, which is cool. Everyone's got to eat. But what happened is they didn't understand. They were putting all the new shit on these CDs. They got it from the pool. A week later, it was pressed up. So what happened is they pissed everybody off. They pissed off the record labels. They pissed off the radio stations. They pissed off the record stores. And all eyes on us now. And who got busted? The guy making the noise. And I remember it was a sad day. I remember we made this modern rock CD called Flashback Cafe. It's Depeche Mode, Netzereb, all that cool alternative stuff. And I remember we're getting ready to push it out, and then Depeche Mode's coming to town. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe we should not put it out. Depeche Mode's going to be here. Being as arrogant as I was, I said, fuck it. Let's put it out. It's everyone's going to be in that mode. We're going to sell CDs. And then I got a phone call one day from Tower Records, and they said, James, I'm not sure what's going on, but the president of Sire Records just came in, and he started yelling at the top of his lungs when he's seen your CD, and he's asked us to call you to get rid of it, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God. So now, then I get the call, then I get a letter, cease and desist and all that. And then it also started happening at the swap meet. That was another big thing. Swap meet was off range. So anyways, it got really hot. I remember walking into the store, having to collect all the boxes. We probably had maybe 20,000 CDs out. I had to go collect them all. Oh, James, what the hell happened? Oh, all those keyboards that I put over, we never asked them if we could put the keyboards over, and they hated it, so we got to take them out. I'm just bullshitting. I'm trying to save face. Everybody that used to work at Tower Records, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I was just trying. The end of that era.
Right. Yeah, I had to ask
Well, I
about
remember
that
the
because I know it was big.
I'm sorry?
No, I just had to ask that because I knew how big that was, and I was thinking, man, he's selling a boatload of these CDs. So I'm like, yeah, there'll be a story to it. And by the way, I think Tez just tuned in onto YouTube. So he said, guess who just tuned in? So Montez Brown is listening into ya.
So like I said, when I started learning how to DJ, it was me and Tez. And the main reason why I think I got so good was because Tez had the BMX tape. Not I, but me and him got so good. We learned the technique of the Hot Mix 5. And what makes me feel so happy is I didn't know how big these dudes were. I just loved them because I love them. But now, if you know anything about DJing, these dudes are like legendary cats. I mean, I just went online the other day because my man Sean Boyd, Doc Rock, did an interview with Lee Michaels. He was the one who actually put the Hot Mix 5 together. So when I watched that stream, I was just like, there's the dude, and he was the voice, WBMX, Hot Mix, and, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, me and Montez, we learned how to DJ together big time. I'm glad. I'm glad. And we're still great friends. And now that with all this live streaming, we're probably going to do, some Zoom type shit once I learn it. And that dope ass raid parties that y'all be doing once I learn it.
Yeah.
Hey, this is sad. I bought a brand new computer. I bought some cameras. I bought a new controller. I still don't know how to use the shit. I'll get there. I'm in no rush.
I have no doubt in your hustle, man. You've been hustling since day one, so I'm pretty sure this is just the next thing for you. So it's all good. So as you said, after the mixtape 99, and you kind of came down, How'd you dig yourself out? And I want to lead that into like United DJs and
wow.
nonprofit.
No.
I
Okay.
think United DJs and the nonprofit you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I knew the only way I was going to stop doing drugs was to have some kids. I really and truly believe that. I mean, because I was, I was out there. So I got lucky and fell in love with another young lady, Jennifer, that my second wife, and we fell in love relatively quick. And boom, my little baby boy was there. And I remember when she got pregnant, she was trying to make up her mind, and I'm actually, I'm not even gonna get into all that. Anyway, so I had a child, and once I had the child, Jackson, that was it. I mean, life got really simple. When I don't know if you guys have any kids, but
Yeah.
once you have a child, all the outside stuff, it don't matter no more. All that matters is that little baby. That's it. You clothe and feed that little mug, and that's it. That's all that matters. So that's what stopped me all day long. Then we had another one. His name is Jensen. And then we had a baby girl, Jaina. And I took a break. Boy, did I take a break. I just didn't want to do anything related to DJ in a nightclub because I knew, my demons would come out and I'd fall right back into it. I mean, I battle it now, at 53 years old. I see it. I start to twitch, But I'll be afraid, like Rick James. I do that one line, and I croak. I got a lot more things to do, so I'm not playing with it no more. But yeah, that's what started that. So, and I remember, I need to work. So Zanzibar approaches me. They're, hey, we're gonna open it up again. Why don't you come in and open it up? I'm like, all right, well, I don't want to stay late. I got kids now, and blah blah blah. So that goes on for a little while. I'm at Zanzibar and it's whack. I mean, it's nothing like Maharaja at all, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm a different guy now. I'm just different. And I remember Jamie Hyatt came in, and he ran Extreme Radio, and he's like, "Yo, what the hell are you doing here?" I go, just trying to get it on. He goes, "What happened to the radio?" I said, "Lost that gig. It ain't happening." He goes, "Well, why don't you give me a call? My music director is leaving. Maybe you can be my music director." So that started the Extreme Radio thing with me. And yeah. Oh, so wait, to stop. I did go back to I-94 after I lost everything. Oh, actually, that's a big thing. So after I lost everything, and I had not a pot to piss in. Alan calls me up, Alan Oda. He's like, "Man, what are you doing?" I go, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" You know the story. I lost everything. I'm a drug addict. I mean, I'm done, dude. He goes, "Well, look, I think I need you to come back and blah 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 blah." So here's my second run at I-94, and I screw that up. So I get fired from there, and then I go to Zanzibar, and then I go to Extreme.
Yeah.
Now, when I was at Extreme, I stopped the club. And I just did radio and went home. And it was actually kind of nice. And I remember after, I think it was like 2005, I'm watching the TV and I see a McDonald's commercial showing a DJ. I'm like, oh, this is the beginning of the end. And well, now that DJing is, going to be popular, this is the beginning of the end. I want to, everybody's going to want to be a DJ now. So that was the inkling of United Musical Youth. I wanted to teach teenagers for free how to DJ and how to DJ for the right reasons. And let me tell you, that was unbelievable. I was so nervous when I made the deal with Kaleo. Actually, is a good man at Boys and Girls Club. He set me up, had a nice little room, and I had all my equipment. I just laid it inside there. And we kind of said, "Hey, this is it." And I didn't know what to expect at all. I'm a high school dropout. How can I be teaching anything? And I remember walking up, and there was a nice little line. There was about 20, 30, 40 kids in line to sign up. And I always remember the very first one. She was a little girl. She had to be 13 years old. Her name was Betty. And DJ Betty.
Yeah.
And And Transis, he was one of my students. Anyways, there was a whole bunch of cats that were my students, and it was the most fulfilling thing I think I've ever done. It was dope. What was dope was to watch them figure out how to match the beat, because once you get it, because you have to train your brain. Everything's on this side, and then this side, and it's hard in the beginning. Everything's like this, and then finally your brain goes, and it understands, and you can see the face when they actually get it, and it was a trip. It was. A trip.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome thing you did there with the Boys and Girls Club. Like I said, I forgot it was it originally called before United DJs? What was it called? You said
Musical Youth.
Musical Youth.
So
Yeah, that's right.
Here's what happened was, so we did Musical Youth and blah 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 blah, and then I wanted to teach them everything that I knew, and I would always tell them, it all starts from the DJ. From the DJ, you could be a record producer, you could be a remixer, you can own a nightclub, you can work in radio, you could be a music director, program. It all starts here. So when your parents tell you, oh, you just want to be a DJ and play somebody else's music, no, it can branch out to all these things. Mm-hmm. So the other thing was mobile DJ. So to me, I kind of had an attitude about mobile DJ, and I hated it because I wanted a nightclub. So I skipped it. I mean, me and Joe had bailed me out more times than I'd like to admit. And I worked for Joe many times, but it wasn't my thing. I didn't really like it, but I understood it. So when I had the Musical Youth, I was like, yeah, we got to start a mobile DJ, because that's the best training ground. You never know what you're going to get. And that's a perfect learning how to program to that group, and that group. It's, what it is.
Right.
We started on the mobile DJ thing probably 2010, and I didn't put too much thought into it. And all of a sudden we're making money. I'm like, oh shit, we got 5 gigs in one night, 3 gigs over here. I mean, it was crazy. I was like, we're doing $40,000 a year, and I don't even care about this, And I was like, okay, well, maybe I should start putting some thought into this. And then I did, and it started to flourish, and we really concentrated on teens. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to go after the weddings. We didn't have that flash and all that. So I knew what lane I needed to be in, and I just concentrated on teens. And then we started throwing teen parties. That's what I used to do before, was throw teen parties. So when we started throwing teen parties, I was like, we can't call it Musical Youth Presents. That sounds whack. So we got to come up with something cool. And I totally bit United DJs of America. And I just said United DJs took off of America, and we became United DJs. And then when we started throwing them teen parties, my God, I had no idea. I didn't. I had no clue. I remember the first time we threw a party at the water park, I'm thinking, damn, I hope 300 people show up, just so we can break even. And we were the first to throw a party at the Hawaiian Waters Adventure Park. Mm-hmm. I remember 1,800 kids showed up.
Yeah.
I got so scared. I actually got scared because I think I had 3 or 4 security guards. I was like, oh, I remember going to the door. I was opening up my phone. I'm saying, I'm going to call the police. I need some police out here just to, show a presence. And then I was like, what are you doing? Let them all come in and get the money, then call the police. Anyway, so that's when we made up Sugar parties, and it was phenomenal. And that was a very, very good run. And a lot of the students that I had, that was the training ground. They had to get to a certain level where I felt that they can at least, hold it down. So they're all kind of fighting for those spots. And it did quite well. And because because of my connections, with radio and everything like that, they get starstruck when, DJs would show up that they knew from the radio and stuff like that. It was very, very cool. Very cool.
Speaking of which, DJ 720 just tuned in. Saying
720, that's the man. He was one of my instructors. Thank you so much, Donald. Because when I remember this, Kevin Okada said to me one day, because I would show him, look, I know how to triple thread and I know how to do transforming, and I would show him my tapes, and he was not impressed. He was like, James, I'm just going to say this one time. Tricks are for kids. I was like, what? I said, but I'm dope. He goes, tricks are for kids. Learn how to ride the mix and program the room. That's going to get you further. And that stuck with me. That
Wow.
really stuck with me. And I stopped. I was like, well, you know what? I know how to transform. I know how to triple thread. I can cut better than most. I'm done with that. I'm going to concentrate on programming and mixing for, 664s. I want to rock. I want the music to make love with each other. So that's when I turned that off. And so when I had the school, I wasn't very good at cutting and scratching anymore. And it had morphed. When Hubert and them, they took, I remember watching, I was like, what the hell is that? I mean, my mind in 82, 83, 84 wasn't even, that, what? So I had to reach out, and everyone, I would talk to people, and it was like 720, 720, 720. So I reached out to him, and he got down. And I thank you very much, Donald. I thank you very much. We don't see each other a lot, man, but I appreciate you, and I miss you much. Yeah.
Well,
It was
when I started learning how to DJ and mixing and all that, I would go when Richie would have meetings. It's the same building with Maharaja. When he had meetings in the offices, and the maintenance guy was, doing his thing to clean up. That's what he told me, because he'd come. I was like, let me see you mix it, and I'll mix 32, and then I'll do the taka taka taka. And he's like, dude, tricks are for kids. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Knock it off. You're like when you DJ for kids and teens, yeah, do that. But you're at Maharaja now, and I was like, oh damn. And so that's why I don't.
Well, the other big thing too, you got to understand, before Serato and all of that, there was too much room for error, and that was another reason why I didn't like doing it. Because if I'm in a club situation, I got 500 people rocking, and I do a thread or I start cutting and my needle jumps, that ain't happening. And so when the Serato thing came out, and now this phase and all this, I remember, Donald, you were there. I remember when I tried it, it just felt off to me. It didn't feel right, so I just dismissed it. But that was, 15 years ago. I'm sure if I got that phase now, or that rain thing, it's pretty dope. I use a lot of controllers now, and scratching on a controller to me is just ridiculous. That's not what you do. No disrespect to anyone who's actually mastered it. But for me, I think it don't make no sense. You gonna cut, cut proper.
Yeah, I find it kind of cool. Maybe a little bit a trip that your first introduction in Hawaii, your dad dropped you off at the Point After at a teen thing, and come full circle. What, maybe like 30 years later, you're throwing the exact same parties with the kids, and for kids, by kids.
Not 30
almost.
years. No, it was really maybe only 15 years. You figure if it was 1980. I started throwing, my first party ever threw was with Daniel J. May my brother rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
We threw the first rave together, and that was in 1990. So that was my first inkling of promoting.
Right.
And once I learned how to promote, it was over. It was over. I liked that feeling.
Yeah. That's a crazy, crazy story.
It's an ugly feeling when you lose your ass. I think the biggest party I ever lost was throwing Bobby Brown. I lost 30 grand in one night. I was not happy. As a matter of fact, some of my ass never grew back. I mean, it was a bad day. But, on the flip side of it, the biggest party I ever had, I made 30 grand,
Right.
So it's the games we play. And, you gotta roll with the punches.
Yeah, it's like I tell everybody when I used to promote too, it's a calculated risk. It's a risk,
Yep.
but it's a calculated risk. So you gotta weigh your options. Is it really worth it? If it is, you're gonna roll the dice. Sometimes you're gonna fucking roll sevens, and sometimes you're gonna fucking get snake eyes. So
I love it.
roll the dice.
I love it now. I still throw a lot of old school parties. I mean, I was on a pretty good roll before this COVID thing came, and all I do is buy some Facebook ads and make a commercial and cross my fingers, and that's dope. I like that. I used to love putting my posters up with the, I'd be all in my black.
Yeah.
Have the
Staple gun.
And, I even have that freaking glue so I can spray. I love it. I
Get
love
that
doing
freaking
that.
tomahawk stapler on the telephone poles. Pat, pat, pat. Yeah, those
Hey,
were the
listen,
days.
it's getting late, but
Yeah.
let's talk about I-94.
Okay. Yeah, let's transition into what you're doing now and what you got coming up. Because it was a great story, and I think a lot of people enjoyed hearing the history. But like I said, let's bring everybody up to speed. What you're doing now and what you got coming up.
Well, before I go there, if I may, let me just
Okay.
touch on how the whole I-94 thing started.
Okay.
So I used to drop off my cassette tapes to I-94 back in, God, I don't know, 89.
Mhm.
And then one day, Joe Ho, I remember he called me up one day. He goes, "Hey, so I need you to meet this guy named Alan Oda." I go, "What does he want?" He goes, "Well, I think he wants you to be the music director for I-94." I was like, "I don't know nothing about being no damn music director. You know, what?" Anyways, we have the meeting. Me and Alan click, and I become this music director. And I remember it was my first time getting up at 7 o'clock to be in the office by 9, and I remember walking outside going, "Damn, it's bright out here. Damn, there's so many people up." Anyway, so that the I-94, that whole thing ran, and that was a wonderful, wonderful time. I learned so much, and I'm so grateful to still be in the game, and all the memories. Okay, so I just want to say how that all started.
All right.
What am I doing now? Trying to
Yes.
take a break. Trying to take a break. Trust and believe. I work at a company called Salem Media. Now, when I first went to Salem Media, there was all kinds of weird stories about them, because they're a Christian station and all this. So I wasn't sure if it was going to be a fit. And I actually went there and tried to go on the other side of the building. And you guys in radio understand. They wanted me to be the promotions director.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, I'm 50 years old. What the hell do I know about being promotions director? And I remember talking to GM. She's so wonderful, Dita Holyfield. She was like, "Look, I'm gonna teach you, and don't worry about it. I'm gonna teach you. Won't believe won't." So I think about it. I go, you know what? Let's try something new. If it don't work, I just bounce. Long story short, I think I lasted 6 months. I told Dita, I said, "You know what? This is the second time in my life I don't have passion. I'm actually lacking passion in this capacity, and I think I need to step down. I don't want to be the weak chain on the link, the weak link on the chain." She goes, "James, but I have nothing for you." I go, "That's okay. I'm just gonna go, and if something opens up, give me a call. And I got ways of making money." So I left, and 2 days later, she calls me. She goes, "Hey, I got something. It's in programming, but you're going to be a board op. What is it? Not a board op. You're going to produce the Mike Buck show. It's from 5 a.m. to whenever it was. I think it's 10 a.m. I says, "Okay, cool. James, it doesn't pay that much." "Okay, cool. No, I just want to get my little pinky toe in programming, and we'll see what happens." She goes, "James, you have to be here at 5 a.m. And I go, "No, I get up at 6 o'clock anyway. So what's an hour and a half?" She goes, "James, you can't make it to the damn staff meeting at 9 a.m. I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I don't care about that staff meeting." And we laughed. And anyways, we gave it a whirl. And it was a great experience to work with the legend Mike Buck. And then the other opportunities opened up. And now I'm the production director over there. I'm also the music director for Pool Gold. And I'm also imaging director for most of the stations. And I'm on air. It's big fun. It keeps me busy, and I'm very, very grateful. I've been there now for 3 years, and I think I'm gonna, as long as they have me, I think I'm gonna stay put for a little while.
Awesome.
My side gigs, I'm gonna still, once all this COVID is done, I'm still doing my mobile company. I'm gonna revamp it a little bit and get a little more serious with it, and I'm still gonna throw my decades old school parties, most definitely. And I think that's gonna be about it. No, you see, I'm not done. The biggest thing that I'm so excited for, but I'm moving slow, is this live streaming thing. I think it is the most wonderful thing to connect with people this way, and I think it's here to stay, and I think it's we're all in this together, and it's in its infancy, and it's just going to get better and better, and I'm just excited about it. I always tell everybody I want to DJ when I'm freaking 80. And now with this shit, I can. I mean, this will be the first time I will sit down on the chair and DJ, but I can actually do it when I'm 80, sitting down from my living room.
That's wonderful, man. Your story is so interesting throughout the years, and we could have gone for 4 or 5 hours. Just
You can do a
talking.
part two. Just let me know.
But we're gonna have to come back to you soon, because I know that again it's late and you know.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
baby's outside. You know, I got to tend to my girl. I don't want to lose another wife. You know what I'm saying?
this one's a keeper.
Oh, that's a whole other story, gentlemen. That is a whole other story. I finally found my maid of soul. Trust and believe, Miss
Well-
Renee Bigelow. That's my baby.
We'll get into the other stories maybe in part 2 with James Cole
Yeah.
next time.
Let's do a part 2. We'll get into I-94 and the love story. That'll be fun because we're gonna get married in October. So
Awesome.
it's
Oh,
our
nice.
it's our 7-year anniversary, and we're very excited about it.
Very cool, man. Congratulations. Just the planning of it all. You know, we're gonna have to have the James Cole Unity Series podcast. Like, there's so much stories with you, man. I love it.
Jeez.
You never know. You never know because I like talking, as you can see.
That should-
Okay, one closing note. My next stream is gonna be the I-94 Lockdown Get Down reunion. Holla. All 90s.
Oh man, that should be
And-
awesome.
If I get lucky enough, you, Mark, will send me a mix and do a little drop. Because I'm trying to get all the mixes that used to play, send me a mix and a drop, and I'm trying to get some of the old school DJs to give me a drop. I already got a drop from Shalyn Cole.
Dang.
Fresca's going to do a drop.
Fresca, dang.
Lanai said he might, if he's in town, he's going to actually do it with me, which will be
Nice.
unbelievable.
That'd be so
Well,
sweet.
I'm actually going to reach out to Slick Vic, but you know he's superstar DJ now. I don't know if he got time for little old me.
Actually, Jake was in the chat a little bit earlier. Jake Kidd was tuning in, so
Yeah, I
hopefully
want
he
one from
puts
him
out the-
too.
and we had Eddie L last week too, so
Eddie said he's going to do one too.
it should be a definitely fun time with that one.
Yeah.
That's gonna be amazing.
Hopefully, I'll have one overlay.
Hey, hit me up. I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up with some stuff, man.
All right, brother.
I'll lay it down for you.
All right.
Well, before we let you go, we have a tradition here on the show.
Oh, I remember.
Not last
Mhm.
week. Whatever. Mark, you ready?
All right. As much as we love you, and you are, the historic godfather to us that blessed all our careers, everyone in the chat, all the DJs in Hawaii. But we got to do it to you because just like everybody else, there's a section of the show we call Try Answer Fast Kind.
I'm too old. It's going to be slow, but go on.
All right. Free's going to read you 10 rapid fire questions, and all you got to do is answer quick and honest. That's all we ask of you, and we'll start it off.
Are you ready? Are you ready,
Let's
James?
go, babies. Let's go.
All right. Would you jerk off LeBron James for all his athletic ability and money?
No. No.
No.
Not at all.
How tall are you, James?
Maybe 5'8".
So
5'7".
can you imagine that even if you had his abilities, you'd still be 5'8"? Okay.
I don't even want to have that vision in my head. Stop.
Number
Moving.
2. If you only had $5 to get drunk, what would you buy?
Vodka.
Just straight vodka. Doesn't matter what kind of vodka.
I don't care. It's $25. I can't get too much.
Okay, what song? Number 3. What is the song that comes to mind when you think of when you were just started DJing?
Freedom. Grandmaster Flash.
Oh, nice. You know, when I first started DJing, it was this sounds put into my mind. So, all right,
Song, brother. That's a song to mix too. Ride that.
right. Number 4. Pick one person in the world to meet an aliens for the first time.
One more time?
Pick one person in the world to meet aliens for the first time. Like the first time the aliens come to, was it?
With me?
Well, I mean, if you're the one, then you're the one.
No, I don't understand the question.
Like, who would you pick to represent the whole human race if aliens came down to Earth and said,
Oh,
"Yeah,
I see. Oh, Jesus, I have no idea. I my baby Renee. How about that?
a lot of people said Obama because he's smooth and all that stuff."
He is, but
okay,
not that.
okay. Number 5. Since you've done water park events, would you rather go naked all day at a water park or drink 1 gallon of park water after 1,000 children went swimming?
I'll drink the water. I'll drink the water. Y'all don't need to see all this. Maybe if I was 20.
Right, but- all right, number 6. What is the one song you want played at your funeral?
Oh, that's easy. I want to thank you by Alicia Myers.
Nice, that's a great one, man. Okay. Number 7. What was the best club you've ever worked at?
Maharaja. All day.
There you go. All right. Number 8. What would your DJ name be if it wasn't James Cole?
Jamming Jay. That was actually my first one. Me and Tez, we actually had shirts. He had DJ T. I had Jamming Jay. So silly.
Oh my God. Well, I'm glad you went with James Cole. All right. Number 9. What would you pick? A musubi, a manapur, or a gyoza?
One more time. I'm sorry, you went out.
What would you pick? A musubi, a manapur, or a gyoza?
Musubi all day. Spam. Gone.
All right. Now, number 10. It's a multiple question. You can answer multiple times. Now, this is called stink or not stink. Do these celebrities, what do you think? Do they stink or not stink? Are you ready?
Yeah.
DJ Aoki.
Stink.
Okay. Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, not stink.
She smells like heaven.
Are you
The
kidding
Rock.
me?
The Rock.
Not stink.
Okay. Donald Trump.
Extremely stink.
I mean, seriously, he just looks like he got that old white guy smell. Okay.
Let's not go
Ronda
into it.
Rousey. Ronda Rousey.
I don't even know who that is.
UFC female fighter, Ronda Rousey.
Oh, extremely stink.
If she work out, that's why. She
Yep.
got the vinegar smell. Okay. Ellen DeGeneres.
Extremely stink.
Pink.
Kind of in the middle. not stink.
I think like she stink after she gets off stage because she sweats all that. But
Damn,
when
dude.
she go out, she don't stink.
Ah,
And last one, Gal Gadot, also known as Wonder Woman.
the original was Linda Carter. So the new one, not stink.
Okay, but Linda Carter.
Not stink. I think she was my first person. She was my first poster.
Not stink. And that's it. That's our 10 questions. Thank you so much for doing the rapid.
I really appreciate you guys. I had no idea it was going to go this long, but it was big fun. And keep on doing what you're doing because you guys are doing it. I appreciate you.
All right. I know we got a lot to do, so we'll let you go. But we just want to say thank you for taking the time to talk to us and all the people in the chat. I know there's lots of love for you. Lots of people out there sending you your thing, but they can definitely watch the playback if they didn't get to see it. And you can watch the playback and see all of them showing you some love.
I can't wait to watch the playback because I can't see nothing.
It's all
I
good.
know. Right now, I'm looking at you like through this little.
Yeah,
hole.
tiny. It's so small. Okay, fellas, thank you very much. Aloha.
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
James,
Have a
so
good.
much.
All right. Peace.
Dude, that was a great interview, man.
Yes.
James always, ever since I've met him, and I met him back in the days when, Maharaja was still around, and he was pretty wild back then, dude.
Yeah, when I knew him too, he was, like I said, that was his. He was definitely on one back in the days, but what I mean, definitely someone very legendary in his own right. So definitely got to give him a shout out and thank him for joining the podcast. And who knows, he might be on for part 2 and get a little bit more personal side to James Coles. We learned how the legend came to be. So that was definitely a great interview. I want to give a shout out to everyone in the room. Let's see, Mitch, again, Dennis, AP was in there. I think DJ Alex jumped in. I think your brother, Greg Isabello, was in there for a minute. Jake, Jake. I don't know, a lot of people in there for him. So definitely 720, Quan, Tez. Everyone, thanks for supporting and coming out and listening to the stream. We definitely appreciate the support. And yeah, that was a great interview. I love it when we can just put the questions out and they just go. You know what I mean? And just listen to the story.
With James, I mean, there's so much background with him. And the stories are so interesting that if you've ever been in the nightclub scene or any kind of thing, like entertainment scene in Hawaii, especially radio too, you know his name.
Right.
And a lot of people really didn't know him on a personal level. What I didn't know is that he was so involved in the nightclub scene the minute he got to Hawaii. I mean,
yeah.
Just drop him off at a all age rager nightclub and say, okay, I'll see you in a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe he was just chilling at home, going to school, doing whatever. He was hustling at Washington Intermediate. I mean, he was making $200 like a week.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, insane, dude.
Selling mixtapes for sure. Oh yeah, he said. Everyone says in the room, need a James Coles Part 2. 720 said that. And aloha to Montez Brown, aka DJ Tez, in the house. Thanks for stopping by. And I know that's his road dog, his homie. I think I met him in passing a couple times back in the day, maybe like 94, 95-ish at I-94. So shout out Tez in the house. Definitely someone instrumental also in the DJ game in Hawaii as far as the history goes.
I would love to get Tez and James on. So much history of bringing music to Hawaii that, honestly, Hawaii, I mean, I love Hawaii, don't get me wrong, and I love the music, but back then, there was no expansion of musicality. There was just Kalapana, C&K, all of that local stuff. But on the radio, barely was Gap Band, barely was, I'm already zoning.
Yeah, I think Hawaii radio was very contained and conservative. Like you said, it was more local music, and for the new type of music, hip hop, funk, to filter into the actual island radio was hard. And the thing with it is that's how music was broken off. Like, you know what I mean? There was no real internet. You had no way of consuming music other than the radio. Or like you said, if someone sent you a mixtape from somewhere or something, because there's no way, there's no internet, there's no YouTube, no nothing. The only way you got new music was through the radio, and back then, like you said, radio was very more reserved out here, to say the least.
I mean, radio was power back then, because even then, TV wasn't as big as it is now. You had 4 channels. You know what I mean? Now you got 4,000 channels, but back then there was the main 4, and most of the time there was only one TV in the house. It was in the living room. Your parents had it because they wanted to watch Benny Hill or Falcon Crest. You go to your room and you listen to radio while you do your graffiti art or you're trying to talk to a girl. Right. It was all about radio back then. And dude, James was a pioneer in a lot of things in Hawaii. Yeah. And his tenacity is kind of inspiring because he's hit rock bottom so many times. He's got taken away. I mean, not just due to drugs, but unforeseen circumstances. See, when Hula's went down, or said, we're gonna close up in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, everybody in the gay community went there because it was their last chance. Just because, and there was only Hula's then because even before that, Hamburger Mary's closed down. Fusions are still around, but there's a very small club. So the community went there and it just killed his club. And I'm like, damn, you'd figure that people would gravitate towards the new club that they can go to, but at the same time, you announce that, okay, within a month they're gonna go under. Especially Hula's when it's so iconic. Within a month or whatever, we're done. And so I never thought about it, but people will go there for a whole month, and then nobody comes to your club. So yeah, I mean that's a heartbreaking story, man. But I'm glad. Again, I'm glad he's doing well.
Yeah, as many times as he's been up and down, as many times as he been knocked down, he gets back up, and that just goes to the tenacity and just like a transformation into the person he is today. And like you said, maybe this stream will be the next wave for him, and maybe he will be DJing till he's 80. Who knows? He definitely has the tenacity for it.
I don't doubt it. I think, I look back at his beginnings when he was selling those tapes at Washington Intermediate, $200 a week. It's the same process. He's still in the music, and he's like, how else can I make money? How else can I do this? This is the new technology I need to learn. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to succeed at it. I mean, everything he wanted to do, he succeeded at. It's just that, again, life gets in the way sometimes. And it's crazy. Dude, I could have sat and normally, after about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm done. This time, I could have gone on forever, man.
Well, it's just interesting and it's relevant to us. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not only interesting because it's just an interesting story to everyone, but it's relative and ran parallel to our lives, and it's the foundation of what what we did as DJs. When we were DJing in Hawaii, and hopefully it reaches down to, like I said, the DJ Hoppa boys, all the generation now who are the next generation moving forward, that hey, this is where the groundwork came from. This is where everything started from. So hopefully they can watch this back and be like, damn, now I know the history of how things went down in Hawaii, where you're DJing now. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's funny, like when you mentioned that one of his first students was DJ Betty. I'm like, oh. Like I remember back in those days, like the water park days and all that. But again, he's a smart entrepreneur where, it's not just a benefit to the company where he had his DJs work the water parks, but it's also good for the DJs because literally, if you're 16, 17 years old, where else would you get that experience of DJing for 700 people? 1,800 people. Most DJs don't even get that. Dude. Most DJs only go to like smaller clubs, especially in Hawaii. Maybe 500 on a good night. I mean, you're 16 years old and you're DJing for 1,800 people, like kids, and these kids know you because they're like, hey, isn't that 17-year-old Betty that goes to wherever? I don't know what high school she went to, but it gives them that start and that excitement of music. And what you can do with it, dude, he's amazing, dude. I got so much respect for James Cole. So,
we'll definitely try and see if we can get a part 2 with him coming up soon, and definitely want to give him a shout out. And man, that was just the rapid fire, like a freaking rapid fire history, man. That guy can. He has definitely the gift of gab, to say the least, man.
I noticed this too, and I think you've noticed it as well. The way we talk to and interview radio people, especially the ones that have been in the radio scene, been in the nightclub scene, have MC'd, have DJ'd, and all that kind of stuff. And Tez was like, yeah, he hated the mic, but you still learn it. You still learn the skills. And when we interview them, it's like they're on radio,
Right.
like talk radio, and they know how to just go and
Hmm.
go, and it's so interesting to hear. I mean, we go back to Lanai all the time, but again, interviews like Lanai, James, Tease, anybody that's been in radio. I mean, we just tell them, okay, so what happened? two
Yeah.
hours later, two
It's
hours
just
later.
like, yeah, you just be like, here's the question, go. Here's the
Yeah.
next question, go. And it just goes, you know what I mean? But it's great, definitely a great story, and you know what I mean? Like, for someone so well respected in the industry that we flourished in and we grew up in, it's good to just kind of hear. And that's what I love about the podcast, is that we dig a little bit deeper into just to scratch the surface. And like I said, with Eddie L, whether it was Lanai, I kind of like to just, dig a little deeper and get to know how these people who are so iconic in Hawaii and Hawaii culture, whether it be DJ culture or whatever it is, that you can actually learn, the kind of person they are, and how they grew up. Not only just, oh, that's James Coles. He's, he started all this, one of the ones who started all this DJ stuff. But now, hey, James Cole grew up here, and he got thrown into Hawaii by his mom for acting up, and he lived here, and his ups and downs. And it's if it can educate, if it can inspire other people who watch this podcast, whether it's live or the replay, hey, more power to him, and more power to everyone out there.
Right. If you're watching the replay, if you're watching live, please go check out the rest of the interviews that we've done. They're very interesting to see how these iconic, and maybe not even iconic, some of these people you might not even know, but
Mhm.
everybody's got a great story to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like look at Eddie L last week. I
Mhm.
mean, I didn't know that he left, or he grew up in I don't know how to say it, Samoa. I've been in Samoa my whole life, so he grew up in Samoa. He left later on in his teens and started a life in Hawaii because he needed to do it. There's so much interesting things that when we interview these people, I mean, I just know them as radio guys. I just know them as DJ guys. I just know them as he owned like Mariner. He owns a couple of smoke shops and all that kind of stuff in Maui, right?
Right. Big Island.
Big Island. But I didn't know his background and what he did, what his tenacity is, what his personality, his drive to succeed. You got the vision board. He's got all of these things going for me, and he's focused on providing for his family. Dude, again, man, we've had some really great people on our show. We've been blessed. We've been very lucky. So again, thank you to everybody.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's just hit about 11 o'clock, so let's wrap it up. We just want to thank everyone for joining on in. 720, Tez, Mitch as usual, my boy AP, Joel from Vegas, Quan, I seen in the chat jump in and out. J Kid was in there, and everyone else in the chat, and everyone lurking. Thanks for tuning in. Lost State of Mind podcast every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. in Hawaii. And next week, I think I got someone penciled in. I don't think I got a confirmation. Let me check my.
While you check, please subscribe, like, and share. I know there are a lot of people on the Facebook Live. They haven't subscribed on the actual YouTube channel. The more subscriptions we get, then we can actually get a what is it called, like a nameplate or whatever for our channel.
Oh yeah, you get that custom URL and all that, vanity URL or whatever you call it.
So please support the channel and subscribe to the channel. I know Facebook is a easy way to get on, and you can still do that, but subscribe to the channel first, and then
jump over to the channel and let everyone know about what we're doing here, and like I said, just share the aloha and let people know what we're doing here, and then we can grow the community and get bigger and better names, and just talk story and let you guys. It's a great platform to show you guys a little insight on all these people doing great things, and you can get to know them on a personal level, and it's a wonderful platform, and we just want to share it with everybody. So definitely let everybody know about it, and we'll grow that way. So it's all good. So I guess let's just wrap it up for tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning on in. I won't say who we got on next week. We got someone penciled in, but I don't want to say it and it doesn't come to fruition. But I'm like 90. I'd say about 92.7% that this interview will come through. So, but until I'm 100%, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag and then wind up looking like this guy right here. I don't want to wind up looking like the donkey. So.
So disgraceful.
Yeah. But it's all good. All right. Anything you want to say to anybody before we head on out, man?
Well, again, thank you to everybody that tuned in. Please tune in again and subscribe, like, and share this YouTube channel, Aloha State of Mind Podcast. Thank you, Mark.
Definitely. Thanks everybody, and like I said, I cross promote this all the time, so be sure to check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DJ Mark Gacy. We changed the name of the show from Aloha Morning Show I had, but now we're the Aloha Worldwide Show because we reach out to people all around. We got a lot of people tuning in from New Zealand, and it's like 15 hours ahead of us. So they're tuning in like it's 7 a.m. here, but it's like 2 a.m. the next day in New Zealand.
Wow.
So I figured morning show might not be accurate. So I just said let's just call it the Aloha Worldwide Show. So, but be sure to check that out. 7:30 to 9:30 Monday through Friday on my Twitch channel. So, and then I cross promote this podcast to everyone there. So. Hopefully we can get some traction and some great thing going. Peace out to 720. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, that's about it. So let's wrap it on up and leave it at that. Be sure to subscribe, like, all those social media kind things for us. And we'll see you guys next week, Tuesday. 92.7 sure we'll have an interview. Percent sure we'll have an interview. Until then, you guys have a great week. And till next time, we just want to wish you peace, love, and aloha. You guys have a great one. Good night.
Wherever you are, you're living aloha. Wherever you go, your soul is aloha. Wherever you've been, you're living aloha. About yourself is always aloha. Aloha is a state of mind. 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 When you're with family, you feel the aloha. When you're with friends, you feel the aloha. When you're on the beach, the sun's your aloha. And it breathes the kiss of aloha. Aloha is a state of mind. 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 A state of mind. A state of mind. A state of mind.
Aloha.